In a shocking turn of events, a recent plane crash has captured national attention, leading to public outcry and political finger-pointing. On January 31, 2025, a commercial flight tragically went down, claiming the lives of all passengers aboard. This incident not only highlights the ongoing risks associated with air travel but also reignites debates surrounding aviation safety protocols and regulatory oversight. The crash, which occurred shortly after takeoff from a major airport, has prompted immediate investigations from both federal and local authorities. Early reports indicate that the aircraft experienced significant mechanical failure, but the exact cause remains under scrutiny. We are committed to uncovering the truth behind this tragedy, said an official from the National Transportation Safety Board (NTSB). Our priority is to ensure that such an event never happens again. Political reactions have been swift and intense. Former President Donald Trump has publicly blamed the crash on the current administration's policies, particularly those related to diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) initiatives that he claims have compromised safety standards in the aviation industry. "Under my watch, we have the safest air travel in history. Today we see the consequences of a government more focused on political correctness than on protecting its citizens," Trump stated in a press conference. His remarks have sparked controversy, drawing both support and criticism from various political factions. Experts in aviation safety have cautioned against hastily assigning blame without a thorough investigation. It's easy to point fingers in the wake of a disaster, but we must allow the investigation to run its course before jumping to conclusions, noted Dr. Emily Carter, a professor of aerospace engineering. Understanding the root cause of this crash is imperative for improving safety measures in the future. As the investigation unfolds, questions surrounding the effectiveness of current aviation regulations are being raised. The Federal Aviation Administration (FAA) is under pressure to review its safety protocols, particularly in light of recent airline mergers that some analysts argue have created monopolistic tendencies, potentially hindering competition and safety advancements. "We've seen too many instances where cost-cutting measures have undermined safety," stated aviation analyst Mark Reynolds. The FAA needs to take a hard look at how to better enforce regulations that prioritize passenger safety. The impact of this crash extends beyond immediate safety concerns. It has the potential to influence public perception of air travel and its regulatory environment. As passengers grapple with fears surrounding their safety, airlines may face an uphill battle in restoring confidence. Analysts predict a possible downturn in ticket sales and increased scrutiny from regulators, which could lead to stricter safety measures and operational changes across the industry. Looking ahead, the outcomes of the investigation and the political discourse surrounding the crash will undoubtedly shape aviation policies for years to come. While immediate reactions may ebb and flow, the tragic loss of life serves as a sobering reminder of the inherent risks of air travel and the pressing need for rigorous safety standards. As the nation mourns, the focus must remain on ensuring that lessons learned from this heartbreaking event lead to meaningful changes in the industry, safeguarding future travelers from similar tragedies. In the complex landscape of family dynamics, misunderstandings and conflicts can often lead to deeper emotional rifts, especially between parents and adult children. This theme resonates strongly in a recent column by Carolyn Hacks, where a parent expressed feelings of being wronged after a confusing altercation with their daughter. In this poignant exploration of familial relationships, Hacks sheds light on the emotional intricacies that accompany adult parenting and the evolving roles within these connections. The parent who reached out to Hacks recounted a particularly charged incident that left them feeling unjustly maligned. The conflict seemed to stem from a miscommunication that escalated into a broader argument, encapsulating a sense of frustration and hurt on both sides. It's easy to see how a simple misunderstanding can spiral out of control when emotions are running high, Hacks noted, emphasizing the importance of clear communication in maintaining healthy family relationships. Hacks's analysis delves into the heart of familial expectations and the pressures that come with them. As adult children carve out their own identities, parents may struggle to adapt to these changes, sometimes viewing them as personal betrayals. This dynamic often leads to blame being placed on parents for various life challenges, a point highlighted in a parallel column where another reader lamented their volatile daughter's tendency to attribute her struggles to parental shortcomings. The impact of these interactions can be profound. For the parent grappling with feelings of injustice, there is a potential for long-lasting emotional distress. Hacks urged parents to reflect on their own responses and consider whether they may inadvertently contribute to the misunderstandings. Understanding where the other person is coming from can be a game changer, she advised, suggesting that empathy could pave the way for resolution. Moreover, Hacks pointed out that these conflicts can serve as a catalyst for growth. Sometimes a clash can lead to a deeper understanding and a stronger relationship, she remarked. By addressing the underlying issues rather than merely focusing on the surface conflict, families have the opportunity to rebuild their connections on a more solid foundation. Looking ahead, the column serves as a reminder of the importance of open dialogue and mutual respect in family relationships. As parents and adult children navigate the complexities of their evolving roles, fostering an environment where both parties feel heard and valued can help mitigate misunderstandings. Hacks' insights underscore a universal truth: effective communication is not just about exchanging words, it's about building bridges of understanding that can withstand the test of time. As families continue to adapt to changing dynamics, it is essential to remember that every challenge presents an opportunity for deeper connection. By confronting conflicts with compassion and insight, families can move forward, fostering relationships that are resilient enough to endure the inevitable ups and downs of life. In a striking juxtaposition, the financial landscape in the U.S. is witnessing a remarkable boom on Wall Street while traditional banking institutions find themselves mired in a lending slump. This dichotomy raises questions about the underlying dynamics of the market and the shifting strategies employed by banks in response to economic conditions. As of late January 2025, Wall Street is thriving, buoyed by robust stock market performance and increased investor confidence. The S&P 500 has shown consistent uptrends, with analysts pointing to a surge in technology stocks and a general optimism surrounding major economic indicators. The market has been remarkably resilient, noted a financial analyst from a leading investment firm. Investors are eager to capitalize on growth sectors, particularly in tech and renewable energy. This sentiment reflects a broader trend where portfolios are being increasingly directed toward high-growth potential industries which continue to attract capital. In stark contrast, the banking sector is grappling with a significant slowdown in lending activities. Several prominent banks have reported a marked decline in loan origination, particularly in consumer and small business segments. According to recent data, lending to small businesses dropped by nearly 20% in the last quarter alone. This downturn is attributed to a combination of factors, including rising interest rates and a cautious borrower sentiment as economic uncertainties loom. Banks are tightening their lending standards, which is making it harder for businesses to secure financing, explained a banking sector expert. This lending rut not only reflects the challenges banks face but also highlights a strategic pivot within the industry. Many banks are focusing on enhancing their capital reserves and reducing exposure to riskier loans. We are in a period where caution is the name of the game. Banks are re-evaluating their portfolios and prioritizing stability over growth, stated a senior executive from one of the top financial institutions. This shift is indicative of a broader trend where financial institutions are reassessing their risk appetite in light of fluctuating economic conditions. The implications of this scenario are far-reaching. While Wall Street's exuberance may suggest a healthy economy, the struggles of banks in extending credit could stifle growth in the real economy. Small businesses, often hailed as the backbone of economic growth, could find themselves particularly vulnerable in this environment. Without access to necessary capital, innovation and expansion may be hindered, potentially leading to a slowdown in job creation and overall economic momentum. Looking ahead, the interaction between Wall Street's thriving markets and the bank's lending challenges will be closely monitored by economists and investors alike, as financial institutions recalibrate their strategies. It remains to be seen how this will affect capital flows and economic resilience. The coming months will likely reveal whether banks can adapt to the changing landscape while still supporting the growth that Wall Street is capitalizing on. The balancing act between risk management and fostering economic growth will be a defining theme in the financial narrative of 2025. In the complex landscape of global energy politics, recent statements from Canadian officials have raised alarms about the potential ramifications of U.S. tariffs on oil imports, particularly regarding America's future reliance on Venezuelan oil. As former President Donald Trump continues to advocate for protectionist measures, Canada has stepped forward to caution that these policies could inadvertently push the U.S. toward an energy dependency on a nation characterized by political instability and economic turmoil. In a recent interview, Canadian Minister of Natural Resources Jonathan Wilkinson expressed concerns that if the U.S. were to impose tariffs on Canadian oil, it might find itself in a precarious position, ultimately turning to Venezuela for its energy needs. Such a scenario would be a significant shift given the historical context of U.S.-Venezuela relations, which have been fraught with tension and conflict. The backdrop of this warning is the ongoing volatility in global oil markets, exacerbated by geopolitical strife and fluctuating production levels. With Canada being one of the largest suppliers of oil to the U.S., the imposition of tariffs could lead to increased costs for American consumers and businesses. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, Canada accounted for approximately 61% of total U.S. crude oil imports in 2024, underscoring the importance of this trade relationship. Moreover, the prospect of relying on Venezuelan oil raises further concerns about sustainability and ethical sourcing. Venezuela, with the world's largest proven oil reserves, has faced international sanctions and domestic challenges that have severely impacted its oil production capabilities. Reports indicate that the country's output has plummeted, making it an unreliable source. Relying on Venezuelan oil could potentially compromise U.S. energy security and stability, Wilkinson noted, emphasizing the need for a coherent and strategic energy policy that prioritizes reliable and responsible sources. The implications of these tariffs extend beyond energy markets. They also touch on broader economic and diplomatic relations between the U.S. and Canada. Analysts suggest that a move away from Canadian oil could sour relations, complicating cooperative efforts on various fronts, including climate change initiatives and trade agreements. It's crucial for the U.S. to recognize the long-term benefits of maintaining a strong energy partnership with Canada, said energy policy expert Dr. Lisa Thompson. The consequences of turning to less stable sources could be far-reaching. As the situation develops, the energy sector will be watching closely. The potential for a shift in U.S. energy policy, along with the geopolitical dynamics surrounding oil supply chains, will undoubtedly shape the future of North American energy security. The dialogue surrounding tariffs and their implications serves as a reminder of the interconnectedness of global economies and the importance of strategic energy partnerships. Looking ahead, it remains to be seen how U.S. policymakers will respond to Canada's warnings. The energy landscape is evolving rapidly, driven by emerging technologies, changing consumer preferences, and a growing emphasis on sustainability. As both nations navigate these challenges, the choices made today will have lasting effects on the energy landscape of tomorrow, potentially redefining alliances and altering the course of international relations in the process. As the conflict in Ukraine continues to stretch into another year, troubling signs are emerging from the front lines. Reports indicate a growing desertion crisis within the Ukrainian army, a phenomenon that reflects the mounting strain on soldiers grappling with prolonged warfare and the psychological toll it takes. The phrase "everybody is tired" the mood has changed echoes through the ranks, capturing a sentiment of exhaustion that permeates the military as morale wanes amid relentless fighting. Desertion rates have surged, with some estimates suggesting that thousands of soldiers are abandoning their posts each month. This alarming trend raises critical questions about the sustainability of Ukraine's military efforts and the broader implications for the ongoing conflict. Experts attribute this crisis to a confluence of factors: extended deployments, inadequate support for soldiers, and the pervasive feeling of hopelessness as the war drags on without a clear end in sight. Major Yevgeny, a commander who has witnessed the shift firsthand, reported the initial enthusiasm has faded. The same men who once rushed to the front lines now find themselves questioning their purpose and the longevity of this fight. This shift in attitude is not just anecdotal. Military analysts have noted a significant increase in reports of soldiers suffering from combat fatigue and post-traumatic stress disorder, leading to a decline in operational effectiveness. The Ukrainian government has begun to recognize the severity of the issue. In response, leadership is exploring various measures to bolster morale, such as improved mental health support and more substantial leave policies for deployed troops. However, the effectiveness of these initiatives remains to be seen, as the psychological scars of war run deep and may not be easily healed. The desertion crisis poses a direct threat to Ukraine's military capabilities as it faces ongoing aggression. As the number of soldiers willing to engage in combat dwindles, the army's operational strength is compromised, potentially undermining the country's efforts to reclaim lost territories. This scenario could shift the balance of power in the region, inviting further challenges from adversaries who may perceive an opportunity to exploit Ukraine's vulnerabilities. Looking ahead, the situation in Ukraine remains precarious. Military experts assert that unless significant changes are made to address the root causes of desertion and to rejuvenate troop morale, the ongoing conflict could evolve into a protracted stalemate. As the international community watches closely, the focus may increasingly turn to not only military strategies but also the well-being of soldiers tasked with defending their nation. The coming months will be crucial in determining whether the Ukrainian army can regain its footing or if the desertion crisis will exacerbate an already dire situation. In a world where technological advancements and medical breakthroughs often dominate headlines, the recent approval of a novel painkiller by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration (FDA) marks a significant stride in addressing the ongoing opioid crisis. On January 31, 2025, the FDA announced its endorsement of Jornax, a new analgesic that promises to offer a safer alternative to traditional opioid medications. The approval of Jornax comes as part of a broader effort to mitigate the risks associated with opioid prescriptions, which have long been linked to addiction and overdose deaths. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention (CDC), nearly 500,000 people died from opioid overdoses between 1999 and 2019, highlighting the urgent need for alternative pain management solutions. The introduction of Jornax is a pivotal moment in our fight against opioid dependence, stated Dr. Emily Johnson, an FDA spokesperson. This medication provides patients with effective pain relief while significantly reducing the risk of addiction. Jornax utilizes a unique mechanism of action that targets pain pathways without the euphoric effects commonly associated with opioids. Preliminary studies reveal that patients reported a 75% satisfaction rate regarding pain management with fewer side effects compared to traditional opioids. Patients are looking for effective solutions that do not compromise their health, said Dr. Rachel Martinez, a pain management specialist. Jornax has the potential to transform how we approach chronic pain treatment. As healthcare providers begin to integrate Jornax into their practices, experts are optimistic about its impact on public health. The drug's introduction could lead to a substantial decrease in opioid prescriptions, a shift that may ultimately save lives. "We are at a crossroads in pain management," noted Dr. Andrew Chen, an epidemiologist. The success of Jornax could encourage pharmaceutical companies to invest in innovative alternatives to opioids, furthering our progress in combating addiction. However, the approval of Jornax is not without its challenges. Critics caution that the long-term effects of the drug remain unclear, and there is a pressing need for ongoing research to monitor its safety and efficacy. Additionally, some healthcare professionals express concerns about potential overprescription reminiscent of the patterns seen with opioids in the past. Education is key, emphasized Dr. Lisa Green, a healthcare advocate. Doctors and patients must understand the risks and benefits of any new medication. As the healthcare community prepares to embrace this new option for pain relief, the future of pain management appears poised for transformation. The approval of Journax not only represents a significant advancement in medical science but also serves as a beacon of hope in the ongoing battle against the opioid epidemic. With continued vigilance and responsible prescribing practices, Journax could very well lead to a new era of safer, more effective pain management strategies.